going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is Farm Sim Talk, a show where we get to interview fellow content creators, modders, map makers, basically anybody who is connected within the world of Farm Sim. We get to talk to them. And I am joined here tonight by FearKnight. FearKnight, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. So let's go ahead and start things off strong. Do you want to tell everybody where we can find you?
Yeah, I can be found on YouTube by looking up FearKnight, FearKnight, and you can also find me by either in Here's Some Rhino 2's Farm Squad channels, and I believe I'm also attached with Extra Rhino 2 as well.
Excellent, excellent. Do you want to give any shout outs before we get going?
Yeah, actually, I would like to personally thank and appreciate both Fearsome Rhino and the editors that have also made it possible to get it where I am now. Definitely is a big struggle to get where I would be right now if I didn't have them. So,
Excellent, excellent. And do you want to give everybody kind of an overview of what it is that you do within the Farm Sim community?
yeah, so I make role play content within Farming Sim itself compared to whether it be no man lands, gold minings, abandoned places, just various ideas that we come up with, and try not to make anything repetitive. And we try to also at least once a month try to do unmagazine cuts as well. So we like to do some of that in there. And that's pretty much what the channel's based on right now.
Excellent, excellent. So before we get going into the stream, just a couple of quick things here. I see a bunch of you out there already. I see Ronnie, Daniel, Samuel, Ken. Also got Ghost Tech Gaming. Thank you all, and Joseph. Thank you all so much for stopping in here tonight. Greatly appreciate you all stopping by and hanging out with us here tonight. If you have any questions, make sure that you end your questions with a pair of question marks. It just makes it easier to find when it comes time for the question and answer rounds. So let's go ahead and also make a quick announcement for the channel here. I've got something special lined up here going into the future for Farm Sim Talk. So be on the lookout for it. I'm really excited. I'm going to start to kind of tease it here for right now, but be on the lookout for it. I'm really excited about this. Super, super excited. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start out with our first segment here. This one is called Digging Up Dirt. This is a segment where we get to know you more personally for who you are outside of the world of Farming Simulator. So, the first question I have for you is do you have a job outside of content creation, or is content creation your primary job?
No, content creation is kind of just a little side job for me. My main job is mechanic. I like to work on my cars, and that's what I do primarily. And on my free time, or whenever we have something planned, is when I record.
I gotcha. And what kind of work do you do on your cars? Do you do pretty much anything and everything that needs to be done, or?
Yep. So we do basic automotive repairs, going from your wear and tear to your windows being replaced to body panels, transmissions, motors on and off occasions, stuff like that.
And being that you're here in the States, are you, what is it, ASC certified?
I am not ASC certified yet. It's a very expensive process to get that, but we are working on it.
Awesome, awesome. So, what would be like your ultimate goal with that kind of job? Would you eventually one day like to try and own your own shop and be able to kind of have something along those lines, or are you looking for something a little different?
Well, my primary goal is to get all my certifications and licensing and I would like to actually own and be able to work full time out of my own shop one day.
Excellent, excellent. And what would you say is one of your favorite things to do in the world of like mechanics and stuff like that?
Honestly, just disassembling vehicles and reassembling. It's if it's I don't know, it's just relaxing to me, and it might just be me thing, but I find it comforting, relaxing, and a little peace from the crazy world we got out here.
You know what? Definitely not crazy. I'm right there with you. There's nothing better than, going out on the weekend and, starting to tear apart, parts that need to be replaced or fixed. I mean, as a matter of fact, I've got a little bit of issues with my car. Something's going on with uh, the head unit there, where all the air conditioning and stuff like that's,
Hmm,
being
that's
done.
always a fun job.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, based on what I'm reading, it's one of three issues. It's either the goodness, it's either the control gate for the air conditioner, because what's happening is the uh, heater will just change all of a sudden. It'll go from blowing ice cold air to all of a sudden the gate just switches to heat for no reason. No buttons being touched, no nothing. So it's either the motor went bad, I replaced the motor, not an issue. It's either the head unit itself, which is what I'm suspecting it is, or it's a third option, which is the biggest nightmare in the world for my car, because you have to disassemble the entire dashboard, removing the steering wheel from the knuckle, behind the dash, and then bringing out the entire dash about 3 feet so you can get to this one little sensor that's supposed to tell whether or not your air conditioner is iced over.
No, that is a process and a half. I could not imagine taking in the entire dash apart.
Yeah, and like I said, you got to actually like move it out like at 3 feet. So on the passenger side, you can keep that all bolted in, but the driver's side, the steering column, everything about it needs to come out and pull back about every bit of about 2, 3 feet. And it just they show like using like a milk crate to hold it up and support the thing while you're kind of reaching in there, all like crunched up like a pretzel.
Yeah, I hope for you that it is not that option.
Yeah, well, at least if it's the head unit, all I have to do is take apart there's like an upper glove box in the center of the dash there, and then start taking apart piece by piece the actual head unit itself, the radio and the air conditioner receiver itself, and then swap it out, put in a new one, and hopefully that's the case. But yeah, it's not gonna be fun. I've been I've been holding off on it for a while.
Yeah, I could see why. It's going to be a little project, but at least you won't have mind powers of an AC.
Yeah, yeah, nothing worse than riding around in Florida and all of a sudden your heater decides to kick on.
Oh, that's got to be rough.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So let me ask you this: what kind of hobbies do you have? Do you like hiking, fishing, sports, anything along those lines?
Well, I used to be really heavy into football. Um, Loved it, played it all through middle school, high school. So now I mean, the only really thing I can do right now is just gym and running itself. Because we don't have any community football stuff like that around here, and I do not have the money for college football.
Gotcha, gotcha. Are you into like the major sports like the NFL, NCAA, anything like that?
NFL, definitely
And who's
into that quite a bit.
who's your team?
Between It's kind of like 50-50. But it's between Patriots and the the what is it? Yeah, the Bulldogs.
Okay, okay. So, why am I blanking on it? Georgia?
Yes.
Or is it Georgia or Georgia Tech? I can't remember.
I believe it's Georgia Tech. I want to say
Yeah, yeah.
that sounds
I
that sounds right.
the only reason I know that is because I used to live in that general area and used to see the bulldog, symbol all over the place. So it was one of those, like, I got pretty familiar with it pretty pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
that's actually quite a big swing. I mean, you're talking New England Patriots and then the Georgia Bulldogs. How did that affinity come around?
So I'm originally from Georgia. Um, I've been think I was there about first 10 years of my life, and then I moved up here and then started getting into football up here and actually went to a couple of the Patriots games and really started getting a liking for that team itself, and something I really enjoyed. And then getting into back into my hometown, playing sports. I just kind of like both teams and didn't really have you know, I like that team more than that team. So I kind of just watched the both of them and watch how they do throughout the season.
I gotcha. And I mean, there was quite a while there where it was very easy to be a New England fan. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those that I can definitely see how it'd be pretty easy to, become a fan.
Yeah.
So any other sports that you're into besides football or
um, not right this second. I don't really take participate in many sports anymore now that I work quite a bit. So
gotcha, gotcha. And
limits
then
my time.
what kind of other activities do you do to kind of keep yourself busy, like off the clock? Do you do any like outdoor kind of activities or
Once I get the chance to, I like to be able to go fishing. I do enjoy going fishing. Um, Swimming out in the lake, kayaking. Um, we don't really have many hiking trails around where I'm at, but kayaking, fishing, those are definitely the top two out here.
and I presume freshwater fishing?
Yes.
Do you prefer like lake or stream fishing?
I like the lake. Definitely more relaxing in the lake, especially when you're out there with the kayaks and just out in the middle of the water.
Do you prefer just to bobber fish, or do you do any kind of like worm jigging or anything like that?
Um, do a little bit of both. It really depends what I got. I like to I catch quite a bit on what are they called? It's the it's the homemade lures that I think they're like shiners or something. I don't remember the name of them,
Okay.
but over where I'm at, they catch pretty good.
And what's your fish of choice?
I like bass.
Oh, yeah, bass is a lot of fun, especially when
Yeah,
they're hitting really hard. That's a lot of fun.
yeah.
Is it one that
If
you
you get a
prefer just for the sport, or do you prefer to catch them for eating?
um kind of both. Um, if I was going for like sport, I'd probably go out like deep sea, try to catch something big, big. If I was gonna play it for sport, um, bass is still pretty good in my opinion. Um, if it's prepared the right way.
Oh, for sure. You ever done ocean fishing before?
I did it one time. Um, I got really sick doing it, but um, somehow I was able to hook onto a small shark. I don't know what kind of shark it was, but it was a shark of some sort.
Whereabouts were you when you went fishing on the ocean?
Oh, I think that was. I believe it was. I think that was Florida.
Okay, my neck of the woods.
Uh,
Very nice.
yeah. Went down to Miami for a little bit.
Okay.
That was fun. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, so
definitely, definitely a fun experience though.
it's definitely, if you never have gone, if you're an avid fisherman, you've never gone out in the ocean, it's a whole nother experience, and you can land yourself some, especially on the side I'm on. I'm over on the Gulf side. You go out there in the Gulf, you can land some awesome like gag grouper or red snapper. So many great fish that you can pick up, and it's a ton of fun.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so the reason I giggled earlier is that when you mentioned that you had gotten sick, you're talking to one of the people that has one of the weakest constitutions when it comes to the water. Um, so needless to say, if I go out on the ocean, it's because basically I'm being kidnapped and taken out of the ocean.
Yeah.
But I did make a discovery here recently. If you do have a problem with motion sickness, they make these little patches that go right in behind your ear. And it's like an anti-nausea. And my wife and I, we went on a cruise about a year or so ago, and that thing was an absolute game changer. Absolute game changer. I not did not get sick, not even for a second.
I might have to invest into something like that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Check it out. Look up like an anti-nausea patch. Like I said, it goes right behind your ear. It worked so well that the first day I had woken up from the overnight and all that stuff, I'd gone into the shower, went to go clean up and whatnot, and I must have washed off the patch without realizing it. Within about 20 minutes, I instantly started feeling queasy and nauseous. I went to go drape my finger behind my ear where that patch was, and it was gone. And I'm like, okay, well, I need another patch. So I went and grabbed one, put it on. About maybe 20 minutes after that, nothing. Like absolutely no nausea whatsoever. And for the rest of the trip was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely need to try that next time I go out.
So tell me, do you like to read, watch movies?
Mm, I like to watch shows more than movies or anything. I'm not really a big reader. Um, I don't like reading. It's not my
What's
thing.
what's your favorite show to watch?
Right now, my favorite show is probably Outer Banks.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one. What's that one all about?
It's kind of it's just to sum it up, it's a bunch of kids out of North and South Carolina. That's where they base it off of. That go and look around and explore for different types of old ancient history treasures, and they got to tackle uh, different experiences and hostile situations that come their way, and different losses in the family friend zone. It's quite an addictive show, and I'm still waiting for them to release the next season.
Oh, very cool. That does sound interesting. So, what about music? Are you big into music at all?
Yes, super.
What kind of music are you into?
A little bit of everything. Relaxed days, kind of just all out country music. Sometimes it's a little bit of rap, pop. All the I listen to a little bit of everything. I open my options.
Do you have a artist that's like your all-time favorite? Like you gotta put it on the radio every once in a while, or
By uh, by far, my favorite is Juice World. Love
uh,
his music.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Juice World.
Never heard of it. Is that what genre would that be?
I'd probably say rap would be the easiest way to put it.
Okay, okay. And what would you say is one of the oddest or weirdest television shows or movies that you've seen in your lifetime?
Oh, Oddest. I don't really. I mean, there's plenty out there that I could, just think of, but I don't know the names of the shows by any means. But I'd probably say anything within the B-rated category movies. It's definitely a interesting play of genre that you got going on there.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's tons of those kind of shows and shows and movies that are just off the wall, kind of goofy. Whether they're just kind of meant to be like an artist piece, or if they're actually like legitimately trying to make something, but they're just terrible at their job.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, are they trying to actually like make money off of this and make it like something good, or were they just like throwing it together and say, "Here's a movie for the public, and they can watch it as they wish."
So, do you work off of a console or do you work on PC, Mac?
I work off of PC,
PC?
Windows. Yeah.
And what would you do if, for some reason, content creation was no longer an option to you? Let's say your computer blew up for one reason or another. What would you do in order to pass your free time at that point?
Well, probably probably do what I do in my other free time is work on my car or go hang out with my friends and family. Sit down, watch a show, enjoy enjoy life a little bit. Go out to eat, catch a movie.
So
Haven't been to the
consider
movies in a few years.
I gotcha. Considering that you're a mechanic, I presume that you're gonna have an all-time favorite car. What kind of car would be like your dream car? If money were no object, what would you go out and get your hands on?
If money was no option, I would go and get me a 98 R34 Skyline all day.
Okay. And what about that car kind of speaks to you?
Just I'm a huge JDM fan. I've loved the RBs, the two JZs. They're such a beautiful motor, and there's so much boosting opportunity within that motor. Even the hardware within inside the motor, there's many options for upgrades between your pistons, your camshafts, everything. It's just a beautiful car. It's got such a clean body line. It The sound of it is just something other that I don't think could be recreated by a different car.
I gotcha.
Truly.
And then, do you tend to try and do any kind of modifications to your car that you currently have?
Um, yeah, not like performance just yet because I'm also in the process. It's kind of like a restore daily project all in one. So I'm trying to get everything mechanically fixed on it, then cosmetically, and then going to the things that I want for power and then for looks kind of deal.
Okay, so you kind of have like a kind of a outline of how you want to proceed from one thing to the next in order to get your kind of final vision worked out. Does that
Yeah,
sound about right?
exactly. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, what's that one thing that you would do to your vehicle if, again, if money were no object? What's the one thing that you would do like immediately?
I would rip my motor out and I would put an LSX in it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Is the
Definitely.
biggest, yeah, it's the biggest Chevy motor that just got dropped for their performance packages.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So yeah, you're definitely not afraid of a little power, are you?
Oh no. No. The
Reminds me
motor
of.
alone was 30 grand, so if money wasn't an issue, I'd be ordering that instantly.
Oh man. So it's one of those that reminds me of. Are you familiar with a old television show called Home Improvement?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
I am.
Tim the Tool Man.
Yep.
More power. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. I love it. So, has it always been your has it been like a dream to be a content creator, or is it just something you kind of fell into?
So I've always tried prior and years ago with obviously no knowledge of anything or anything at all compared to, recording to editing to business siding of it, to taxes wise and all that. And it didn't really go too well for me the first time, so kind of just gave up on it on the first try, and then I ended up starting streaming on Twitch for a while, and that went off quite a bit. Um, and then I ended up migrating from Twitch to YouTube when I met Fearsome Rhino and started recording on Farming Sim, and then I just kind of progressed from there.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, when you started getting into the whole recording sphere here on YouTube, was there like something in particular that kind of like said, "Yeah, this makes kind of sense"? Like you mentioned how Rhino basically said, "Hey, you should come over here," kind of thing. Is it something that he said that kind of like, okay, this makes sense to come over here rather than being over on Twitch?
I mean, he offered a deal that would also, help me learn the practice of recording to the financial and business side, but also the capability of what I got to do when I'm recording and how I can progress without somebody shadowing me, and where I would want to take it on in my own hands and how I want the channel to have its own like style of recording compared to like everybody else. So
Okay.
something that honestly kind of sounded a little too good to pass up. So took him up on it, and here we are today.
Okay. So basically he offered you an opportunity to be able to kind of, work under him to be able to learn kind of the ins and outs.
Yeah.
I gotcha. That's really cool. I mean, being able to find somebody like him to be able to help out like that, that's definitely a big leg up, but definitely a big opportunity.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I would have been silly to not have taken it. Truly.
So, what's one thing that you would think that you're not very good at, but others would disagree?
Um. Ooh. Hmm. That is it's a good question.
So to buy you
Um.
a second, the reason I ask this question is because we often find ourselves to be our own worst critics, and it's one of those where we have this kind of um, almost like a self deprecation most times, and we'll be like, "Oh man, I'm not happy with how this turned out. This is really this, that, or the other thing," and you show it to somebody else, and they're like, man, I have no idea what the heck you're talking about. This is absolutely amazing. But there's that one thing that you kind of see that maybe nobody else does. Uh, so that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is there something that you would see that you would find as a problem that you don't think that you did the best at, but somebody else would look at it and be like, I don't understand what you're complaining about here.
Who? Well, if I had to choose between something, um, honestly, probably physically recording within the games we record. Sometimes I feel like there's definitely quite a bit of room of for improvements, but I've also been told that the ones that I think that need improvement are actually good and or decent videos, and not really sure what to worry about.
Gotcha. And let me ask you this: what kind of family dynamic do you have at home?
um, I have a son, no wife.
Okay.
That's all I got.
I gotcha. And the reason I asked that question is I ultimately want to try and ask you, how do you find the right balance? You say you have a son, you also work as a mechanic, so those two things by themselves are going to take up a big chunk of time. I'm a father of two little girls myself. Both of them are under 3 years old. So to find that time for content creation, it's got to be rather difficult. How do you find that balance?
Well, just spending as much time as you can with the sun as much as possible. That doesn't interfere with work. That way, you don't lose the job as well. Um, and then obviously any appointments that come up that you may need to attend to, uh, and other activities. Um, just bouncing between work and seeing the little guy as much as possible. Try to balance between them two.
I gotcha. So, would you say that when it comes to the content creation and stuff like that, you basically hold that off until the very bitter end to, make sure that you're doing the higher priority things first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha, gotcha. Do you like to travel?
Yes, I do a lot.
And what would you say is your favorite place you've been to up until this point?
Favorite place I've probably been to. I got two. First one has got to be South Beach, Miami. I love it. Would love to go back. And Missouri was another beautiful place.
That is a huge contrast between the two there. South Beach, Miami, and Missouri. What about Miami did you find appealing, and what about Missouri was it that you found appealing?
So in South Beach, um, just the southern beachy vibe, uh, the warm weather, whether it be 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 a.m. You could walk outside and still be 75, 80 degrees, and you could go hop in the water and it could be just nice and warm. And honestly, in the Missouri aspect is the view. Um, is something that's just pretty unbeatable when I was traveling, especially sunsets. I got an amazing pictures from out there that are just astonishing from the sunset. And I believe I actually was out there while there was a solar eclipse too, which was pretty interesting.
Oh wow, so that definitely puts a pretty big cap in that kind of a trip, is being able to mark it with a eclipse like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Definitely would do it again.
So again, if money were no object, where would be your dream destination to go to?
Ooh, honestly, I would love to go and visit either the Caribbean or Bora Bora.
Okay. And what about those destinations kind of speak to you?
So the Caribbean, um, I just want to travel somewhere. I don't even know how to explain it. Somewhere very like surrounded by just purely water and culture, and just seek something completely new. And the other place, really the main thing that speaks to me with that is how crystal clear the water is.
Oh yeah, as somebody who's been on a couple of cruises in my lifetime, it's nuts. If you've never seen the ocean down in the Caribbean, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. It is wild. The blue is like something out of a cartoon.
Yeah, I'm I've never actually been able to see purely blue, clear, crystal clear water. I'm always over here used to it's clear until you step into it kind of water.
So, what was probably one of the most wild experiences I've ever had while out on the ocean is my wife and I. We actually, for our honeymoon, we actually went on a cruise and we got a balcony room and kind of, went pretty much all in on it. And as we were heading back from our destinations coming back towards port, I was out on the balcony and all of a sudden you could see the two different types of water that were the dark kind of brackish looking you know water, like the kind of dusky blue, and then the Caribbean water, which is like the really kind of pearly blue. Like I said, it kind of almost seems like it's out of a cartoon. They were literally like one right next to the other, and you could see a clear dividing line between the two types of water that was there. It was absolutely wild.
I've seen videos of that, and I didn't know if that was like actually a thing or if that was just like somebody, making a video. But the fact that that's actually true is kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, no, it is 100% true. I would have never believed it myself had I not seen it with my own eyes. I was literally just sitting out there and all of a sudden I see, a clear dividing line between the two different colors of water, and it was just it blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's something that I would like to see.
Well,
100%.
I tell you what, man, definitely I would definitely recommend a cruise. If you ever get an opportunity to go to one, absolutely sign up for it and get a patch. Get those patches.
Yeah.
So, what's one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
Um, truly is I've I've had a lot of people really like trying to find an appropriate way to say this. I guess the best way to put it is I've had a lot of people since I was growing up um really disbeliefful on what I would be able to do and the fact of where I am today and the stuff that I have accomplished. There's a lot of people out there that are pretty surprised at the place that I am now, and I'm sure they'll be more surprised as time goes on and the stuff I'm able to accomplish within time coming.
Okay, so is it kind of like naysayers kind of thing, or
Ye- Yeah, yeah,
okay, okay. Well, that's certainly something you can use as motivation. Spur yourself on to you know prove them wrong, kind of thing.
exactly. That's what I use it for.
That's excellent. Take something that's a negative and make it into a positive. If more people were to have that kind of mentality, think about all the things that could be done in this world.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm not really much caregiver of what people got to say about me, but at the end of the day, if they got something negative to say, just flip it around and use it for personal benefits.
That's it. That's it exactly. Is any like I said, any chance you can take a positive and turn it into take a negative and turn it into a positive. That's like the best kind of mentality to be in. Don't let somebody else hitch their buggy to you and weigh you down, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely
So,
agree.
what would you say is one of your biggest fears that keeps you up at night?
Who? Um, um, well, mm, honestly, I don't really have many. I'd probably say losing someone within close family.
I completely understand that 100%. That was a whole new fear that got unlocked the moment I became a father was, something happening to my kids.
Yeah, I would. I'd probably lose myself for quite a while if something were to happen like that.
Yeah. Yep. It's not even something that you like to think about sometimes, but unfortunately those intrusive thoughts certainly get in there.
Yeah, they definitely will.
So do you own any pets?
I do. I own a husky, Siberian husky, and
Oh,
her name is Jupiter.
beautiful, beautiful dogs.
Oh yeah, and mouthy at that too.
I was getting ready to say they have kind of a reputation of sitting there and making a fuss.
Yes. And they shed as much as they weigh. I'm convinced I could make another or almost two of the same dog that I just brushed.
I laugh because I've been a dog owner my whole life, and it's one of those where my father, for the past two cycles of owning pets that he's had, have been Saint Bernards, and both of them have been like absolute just mountain of hair shedding kind of thing. To this day, we still find hairs like tucked away in like some crevice of some room somewhere, and yeah, it's absolutely wild.
Yeah, and God forbid you have something fabric. You will be there forever trying to get that hair up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm convinced that a small fortune could be made, not even a small fortune, but a very large fortune, if you could figure out a way to like forcibly remove all the pet hair from within a couch cushion. I've yet to find one that works like 100%. Like it works generally well, but never one that's like 100%.
Yeah, I the day I find one of those is the day somebody becomes really, really rich.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I tell you what, you could sell almost anything to a pet owner because it's one of those like, you know what? I'm gonna try that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Even if
It's
it
always
doesn't
worth a
work.
shot.
It's always worth a shot. Exactly.
Don't hurt
So,
to try it once.
do you take your dog out to like walks or anything like that or
Yeah, she walks around. She also has quite a bit of property line to run around, and another one of her lovely favorite things to do is go on drives. She likes to sit passenger princess with the window down, driving through town.
getting all the looks from people? It's like, oh, that's so cute.
Oh yeah, with her big old smile and her tongue out the window.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She loves it.
Living their best life.
Exactly.
One of the funniest stories I have ever or not even stories, but one of the funniest things I've seen. I was driving from Atlanta, Georgia, down to where my parents were at the time because I was living there in Atlanta, and we'd stopped at a gas station just outside of Florida, and somebody had a German Shepherd who was sitting in the passenger seat of their pickup truck. And it was a big monster pickup truck, but this German Shepherd was literally sitting there with its arm out the window, just dangling there, just like you or I would do. Just sitting there having their arm out the window, just sitting in the parking lot, just chilling out. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
That is awesome. That's something you don't see every day. That is for sure.
I mean, it was one of those that I had stopped and took a picture. It was just something that you would never expect to see at just some random gas station. Just a dog just literally chilling there, arm out, just one arm, and it's just kind of okay. This is where I'm at. I'm good with this.
Yeah, 100%.
So who?
Definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, after you.
I said another one of my favorite dogs out there is Rottweilers, big old babies.
Oh yeah, yep. That's the thing though is You can get those Rottweilers that are, the big babies, but they're definitely a protector. That's some of my favorite dogs are those that take the duty of this is my home kind of thing, and I'm gonna defend what's in my home. That's basically the only kind of dogs I tend to go for.
Yeah, which is the cool thing because there's definitely multiple different aspects of defending. And with those dogs, like say you were, out swimming and you're like, starting to struggle, that's a type of dog that'll jump out in the water and, help you get to the closer to the shore and, go around and try to find somebody to help. And they're very intelligent dogs.
Oh, absolutely. It's wild in how there's that bond between the owner and the pet, where like they'll go above and beyond to rescue their owner kind of thing. I've heard so many stories of like dogs like going out and finding somebody because there's some kind of issue with their owner, and they'll like drag somebody to come and just to see what's going on, and there's somebody like having a heart attack, or like they fall and they can't get up, and they've like broken out of the house, dragged somebody to the home to like, hey, help, help, help kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're great at like service and or medical aid pets.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked good for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's you know they've earned the title of man's best friend for a reason.
Oh, 100%.
So, who would you say is your favorite creator, both inside and outside of the farm sim community? Do you absorb any like other YouTube channels outside of farm sim?
Yes, and I grew up on this man, and that would be Bay Area Bugs. Um, I grew up watching him, and he's still active to this day. He's still one of my top YouTubers. Um, he's a great person to just sit there and watch and relax and enjoy time.
And you said it was Bay Area Bugs.
Yes, he's a 5M content creator.
Okay, okay. And what about inside the FS community? Who's your favorite content creator? Yours truly excluded.
Yes. Um, I don't really know if I have a favorite within the community of Farming Sim. Um, each and every person that I have watched has been um, pretty much equally informational, both enjoyable to watch, and yeah, I don't think I could say I have a favorite with inside the community.
I gotcha, gotcha. And if you could meet any three people, who would they be and why? And it can be for, current or in the past.
Oh, three people. Um,
Now, again, to buy you a little bit of time, the reason I ask this question is because it gives us kind of an insight of those individuals that you would deem to be the kind of like the most important people to be able to have an opportunity to meet. So, I mean, like they could be somebody who's famous, somebody who you're related to, like a grandfather, or like a grandparent kind of thing, like some kind of deep lineage to you, or they could be just some kind of figure of history, or they could be like a sports star kind of thing. Like, oh man, it would be awesome to meet like you mentioned you're a Patriots fan. It'd be amazing to meet Tom Brady kind of thing. So
mhm.
that's kind of why I asked that question is who is it that you find would be the importance people to meet?
Really? Um, if I was to name a few people, it would probably be within the music industry and for their specific type of music that they put out at that time. And one would 100% be Bob Marley. Love the man's music. Um, mm, mhm. Another person that would have been amazing to meet would have been what's his name? Give me a second here. Paul Walker from Fast and Furious. I
Okay.
would have loved I would have loved to meet him. I very much enjoyed all of the movies and unfortunately was not able to meet him before he passed. Kind of bummed about. And then another person I would like to have met would have to have been hmm, wow, this is a little more difficult than I anticipated. um Probably Dwayne. Yeah, Dwayne The Rock, another great actress. Definitely
Okay.
would like to meet him.
That would definitely be an interesting one. You
Oh
know, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Yeah, that'd definitely be interesting.
yeah, 100%. I would very much like to meet him.
And the
I feel like
last, sorry, go ahead.
him. I feel like him and a Kevin Hart combo would definitely spite the spirit quite a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, that would definitely be a very interesting combination to have around.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, so what was your first paying job?
Ooh, my first ever paying job was actually working in HVAC.
Oh, really?
Yep. Um, Started off in construction, working for a hospital in my near location. And we would go in and clean out patients and or OR rooms, ventilation systems and or repair them as they are requested. And then also other commercial and residential jobs as well.
Okay, okay. So, how did you decide to make the transition from HVAC over to mechanics?
Well, HVAC was kind of just like getting me within like the working industry of actually, having a responsibility of going to and from work and getting that. And at the time, it was under the table kind of job, so I just basically just kind of out the door with that. And then as far as the mechanic aspect is, um, since I've been old enough to pick up wrenches and you know thread some bolts, me and my dad have actually been restoring his dad's classic Plymouth Valiant. So I
Ooh,
really got into that with him, and that's where that all came from. Is sitting there and helping, and learning what each stuff or what each thing did, and what things need what to co-react with each other. All the ins and outs of that. Most of them have been from helping my dad in restoring the car.
okay. So he's pretty much instilled in you that kind of passion for the craft.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, that's awesome. It's amazing the kind of things that we'll pick up on, when we're growing up and whatnot, the things that get passed down to us. It's really kind of cool when you kind of think about it in the abstract.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, that car has been in our family for as long as I can remember. I remember many, many motors going into that, many different interiors. Shit, I could go on with that car.
um, Growing up, my dad had an old. It was a '68 Chevy Camaro. SS, and
Nice.
that thing was amazing. I got to drive it one time before he ended up selling it to my grandfather, and it was a black on black cloth top convertible, four on the floor. It was a gorgeous vehicle. My grandfather got a hold of it after my dad sold it to him, and he turned it into a complete show car, and got it completely tricked out, top to bottom, new motor, new trans, new interior, new paint, new everything. Like basically, there was not a single part of that car that was not touched at some point in its life. And now it's a candy apple red with black racing stripes, a black cloth top, red bucket seats. Just gorgeous, gorgeous car.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those where he ended up actually buying four vintage cars, one for each of his kids. When he passes, kind of thing. He ended up buying the Camaro for my father. He bought a '64 Mustang, I think it was. It was a '64 or no, might have been a '69 Mustang. He's got a '67 Bel Air and oh, I think it was the last one was a Plymouth, if I remember right. But yeah, he basically he tricked them all out, got them back up to show quality, and he's up there in Michigan. He'll take them on like the Woodward Dream Cruise. He doesn't get to go out much anymore, but he'll take them to the shows every once in a while if he gets the inclination to do so.
That's nice. I like that.
Let's see.
That
So
would be that'd be awesome to be able to restore those kind of vehicles and bring them back to life.
that's one of the coolest things in my opinion about doing your own kind of uh mechanics and stuff like that is being able to one not be reliant upon somebody else to do the jobs for you, but being able to keep something going for an extended period of time. If you were just kind of let the vehicle go or something like that, well eventually it's just going to give up, kind of thing. But you are the line of defense and keeping it up and running, keeping it to its peak performance and all that stuff. And there's something deeply satisfying about knowing that, hey, I did this. I can show that, this is the work that I've done to prolong its, existence on this, world, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's something that you kind of get out of it as well? Is that kind of sense of, I did this, I know what I'm doing, and being able to kind of, you know, look at something and
Yeah.
say I'm responsible for that?
Yeah. 100%. Um. Yeah. Definitely.
All right, so that is the last question I have for this segment. So now let's go ahead and turn to the audience and see if they have any questions for you here. So looking at it, I believe I saw one out there, and I believe it was from Daniel Krieg. Thank you so much, Daniel. I greatly appreciate it. It says, Fear Night, what is your favorite game to play? And it can't be Farming Simulator.
It is not Farming Simulator. It will actually between 5M is one of my tops, and here and there I like to play Mechanic Simulator on Steam as well.
I've seen that one. Is it fairly accurate to the world of mechanics, or is it just kind of a
I wouldn't say accurate, but I will say that it does help you learn what each part is and where parts go and the process of building them. But as far as accuracy, with like pulling bolts out and how stuff easy goes in and goes out, I wouldn't say too accurate on that scale.
I gotcha. And you said another game there. You said I think it was 5M. Is that what it was?
Yes.
What's that one? I've never heard of that one.
It's basically a role play version of GTA 5 um online, I guess is the best way to put it. Um I've developed it for years. It's something that I like playing when I'm not too busy playing other games and recording or something. And it's basically like real life where you got jobs, you got different um stuff you can do between like taxiing, earning money to get better cars, houses. It's basically like real life but in a video game.
Okay, okay. So almost like a life simulator kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll have to check something out. I'll have to take a look for it. Is that only on like PC or?
Yeah, it's on PC. But I will warn you if you go and try to, find a server to try and find, just make sure it does not say 100K or die.
Uh-oh.
You, there's some servers in here that'll it's basically like a pay to play, or you got to spend your actual money to actually get anywhere in the game, and it's not even worth joining.
Oh wow. Yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely doesn't sound like my alley.
No. There's some good servers, you just got to catch them. And there's some of the other ones that are like, why are these a thing?
Gotcha. I gotcha. Uh, Big shout out to Dust Bunny. Dust Bunny, thank you so very much for sending in that question to me on Daniel's behalf. Thank you so very much. Dust Bunny has been an absolute rock star where she will come in and she will help out the streams to organize and gather up questions so that there's less of a downtime. So big shout out to Dust Bunny. You're an absolute champ. And now I believe that's the only set of questions I have so far. So now we're going to move into our second segment here. This is called the Meat and Potatoes, emphasis on potatoes. This is the segment where we get to know you for who you are in the kind of content creation sphere. So, first things first, I think is probably going to be the easiest question to tackle. What's up with your, what's the story behind your channel name?
So the channel name was already there and pre-existing when I was handed the recording aspect for that channel. It did have someone who previously used to record on it and then realized, content creating is not really my kind of thing to do. And it was left for me to get the channel monetized and progress from there. And the first mega that I did was definitely a huge jump to that.
Okay, so basically the this is a channel that you didn't actually like start yourself. It was actually existing prior to you taking over. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, it was pre-existing. I was able to take over for it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's so where would you say in the span of subscribers, where did you pick it up and get it up to its current form?
Um, Actually, might be able to tell you. Hold on. I know it was. Let's see here. Subscriber. I want to say I started this. I think I when I got a hold of it, it was about 20. It was either like 20, 2100 or 2000 in that range.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't too much from where I'm at now, but
Well, that's cool. I mean, that's having the ability to have something that's already kind of pre-established. Did you have any issues with like the previous subscriber base? You after you took over, it's like, whoa, who's this? Who's this guy? What happened to the original guy?
So we kind of introduced it through an alternate channel to kind of like try to avoid like the abrupt, oh, by the way, I'm now here and recording on this channel that's been inactive for over 6 months. So we kind of like tried to post one video, and then we did a mega, and then it's just been progressing from there.
Well, that's awesome. That's fantastic. So yeah, wow, a 6 month hiatus. So yeah, people pretty much by that point are like, okay, well, we're not going to expect too much, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's triumphant return. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So do you currently only produce farm sim content, or do you work on any other kinds of content?
So right now within the FearKnight channel, it is Farming Simulator as of right now. It might be opened up to other games in the future. Not sure where that stands at just yet. But as far as recording other videos, that is what the Extra Rhino 2 channel is for. And we go through a sorts of different games. Every Monday and Tuesday, we record alternate games with a group of us, to kind of just like have a chilled, relaxed day, night, whatever time of the day it is, and we record maybe a new game that has come out or just a game that we see on Steam that looks fun for all of us to play, and we'll go and record that for the night.
I gotcha. And how long have you been playing farm sim?
So I played a little bit, not like heavily, but I played a little bit of Farming Simulator 22. And I think I didn't even touch that until multiple years of it being out. I didn't really know what it was at the time, and it kind of frustrated me because I just didn't know what I was doing at the time. But now that I started getting really heavily into it, Farming Sim 25 is what actually helped me like understand the grasps of the farming aspect of it. And I'd probably say 25 is like the first farming simulator game that I actually really have gotten into.
So one thing that I find with whether it's content creators or just the average player, modders, whatever the case may be, is there tends to be some sort of connection with the game that they're playing, modding, making content for. There's some kind of connection out there, whether it's growing up on a farm, living out in the country, whatever the case may be. Do you have some sort of connection that kind of drew you into the farm sim space, or are you just kind of picked it up and it's like, oh, this is fun?
Well, I actually lived and worked on my family's farm for the longest time. We had pigs, we had geese, we had ducks, a whole bunch of variety of animals. Um, that was a good time stamp. I didn't really play back then. Was kind of just enjoying waking up, going out, feeding and watering the animals, day and night, and then I came in, went to sleep, and went to school the next day.
I gotcha.
um,
So you had a pretty strong establishment to the farm world, and that you think kind of cleanly picked you up into the farm sim space.
yeah, I would say I wouldn't say much of the agricultural aspect of farming sim, probably just the physical, like your animals and stuff. But because I don't really know too much on the agricultural. We don't do like no big plots of corn or anything like that around here. We don't got fields like that. And I think a little bit of that, and then really just getting the feel for the game. And I think those are what have really brought it together, at least for me.
Okay. And throughout getting to know like the individuals I do interviews for, I go through and I do a little bit of research. I'll sit there and, kind of cruise on channels and stuff like that. And obviously I did the same thing for you. And one of the things that I picked up on when going over your channel is I noticed that there was a lot of content that wouldn't necessarily be like farming simulator. You know, it is farming simulator. It's built in the platform of it. But the one that I recently caught was, um, oh goodness, it was like a mining operation that you do.
Yeah,
In
or gold
particular,
mining.
hmm in particular, the part that I was catching this afternoon, as a matter of fact, you had traded out I believe it's a backhoe for a smaller one in order to kind of be a little bit more maneuverable around the pit that you were working on at that point. Um, do you tend to try and come up with those things that are on the farm sim platform, but then kind of expand out into something that's going to be unique, kind of thing, or do you try to uh, just be within the bounds of farming itself?
I try to, if there's opportunity to, expand out and be a little bit unique on the ideas of each like series, I try to take that opportunity as much as possible. Um, and I actually tested out the mining aspect for a little bit before I even tried it, and we did a test video with the mining, um, and we saw how the video did, and people seemed to enjoy it. So then we made a new map, a new setup series to start the official gold mining series, and it seems like people have been enjoying the mining series that way. So I think that's one of the unique ideas out of like the farming aspect of Farming Simulator that people enjoy, and try to keep it unique as much as I can, possibly within the platform, obviously. And then there is a few other ideas that I have coming up that as soon as I'm able to get to, that I'm hoping that we'll be doing a test video to see how it goes. Um, and if people like that, we're gonna kind of do the same thing we did with the gold mine and make it a separate video and an official series.
I gotcha. That's pretty cool, though. Being able to take the uh, platform that is Farm Sim and really kind of push it to new boundaries and make new limits. That's pretty interesting. That's actually really cool. Um, so, is there something that uh, you would like to do, um, but the restrictions or the mods just don't necessarily exist up until this point?
Um, One thing that would be like actually pretty cool to see like the mods like and or converted or new mods generated for this platform of Farming Simulator would be like a public works kind of mod and or scripting for the game. And I mean by what I mean by that is like whether it be road construction, welding. I knew welding was one back in 22. That would be cool to see come back. Um, Paving would be another cool thing to see come in. Stuff like that, I think, would be pretty neat to see come to farming sim in general, or just a 25 would be pretty cool. I'm not sure if there's some modders out there that have already got something like that, or there's some other ideas out in the world for it, but that I think would be a pretty cool thing see come to 25.
Oh, absolutely, and I can definitely see how those could make some really cool kind of role play, series or even like events within a series. I think that'd be something to be able to take advantage of. So that would be some pretty good ideas. Um, so let me ask you this: what was one thing that you'd never expected when you started your channel? That actually happened. So, what I give as examples are the sense of community or any unexpected backlash, things along those lines. What is something that you just never expected and then just it happened?
Well, I guess for starters is I actually ended up progressing to monetization a lot quicker than anticipated. I really thought that was going to take a lot longer, but with the community's help, it actually happened so much faster. And the community that I've dealt with has been nothing but um, supportive and very proactive. They're always within the comments. They're always reacting to each and every video. Um, I really couldn't have asked for a better audience from this community that I have, truly. And it's really awesome to see a community come together and help a small channel out and sit back and enjoy some videos.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that I say the same thing. Basically, that's the one thing I never expected when starting out my channel and all that is the community and just how strong and powerful that it is and how positive it is as well. It's at times very overwhelming to see just how much the people on this in this community really kind of rally behind each other. They get behind the creators, whether they're the content creators, the modders, the map makers, etc., to be able to do some very amazing stuff. It is incredible the people that are out there. I mentioned her earlier, Dust Bunny. She's a shining example of one of those people who is in so many different people's spaces throughout the content creation spheres, the modding spheres, and just goes well above and beyond. And there's so many people out there like her that will just do whatever they have to in order to help out as much or as many people. Even individual creators themselves will go well above and beyond to help other creators or other modders or whatever the case may be. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Oh, absolutely. And I've had multiple different groups of whether it be groups or individual content creators actually give an extra hand to help with a video or just generic advice for certain situations or uh, videos that I'm doing, and it's all helpful and very much appreciative between the community of, your viewers and then your content creators that all work together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, walk us through your average day. You get up out of bed and, you know, tell us what your average day looks like with what I presume is the culmination of you being able to then go out and record towards the end of the day. You know, kind of walk us through it.
Well, when I get up, I like to eat. I like to eat a lot. So I get some breakfast, and then I like to go and drive to just sometimes just drive around in the morning. If not, drive to go see my sister and uh, my best friend's child, and hang out with them for a little bit. And then if available, I'd like to see my little one as much as possible. And then I like to go back home and relax for a little bit. I'll watch a show or prep for dinner, whatever needs to be done for the night. Get it all ready. Take a shower, Um, get my work stuff ready for the next day, and then I'll usually sit down and I'll call Fearsome Rhino because we call on a daily, and it's kind of our thing now. um, Saturdays we usually watch NASCAR, so we'll sit down and watch the races. It's another thing that I like doing. And then about I'd say like anywhere from like 7:45 to 8:30 is like recording time. At least the start time. We could go anywhere from 12 to 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, depending on what type of video we're
Okay. And you mentioned NASCAR. Who's your driver?
doing. Ooh, I'd like to say I'd love to say Bush, but he's been having a struggle, really really bad. But I think one of my other top drivers is Elliot. He's been doing really good. He won his last race. Last race actually was his first win within the season, I think, and his second within the Atlanta track. So that was a good race. There was a lot of wrecks, a lot of pushing and shoving, but it was definitely a good race, I think.
And what would you consider your favorite track?
Ooh, favorite track. Um, Probably Atlanta Motor Speedway and so, um yeah, probably Atlanta Motor Speedway and yeah, I think I don't really have any other favorite tracks really. All the other ones are I don't really know the names to more of the other ones, but
So back when
yeah,
I did watch, a couple of my favorites were, I mean, obviously Daytona. Getting up there at 200 plus miles an hour. 4 or 5 wide. That's invigorating right there. And you get some pretty big wrecks going at 200 miles an hour. Let's face it, that's half the fun with
yeah,
NASCAR is, and really any racing whatsoever is the wrecks.
yeah.
But
I
what was that?
I said it's definitely a lot more fun to watch when they're pushing and shoving. And you got the cars wrecking out and the multiple crowds. So
Absolutely. And then one of my other favorites, and this one it tends to be kind of a hot take for some people out there, would be either Bristol or Martinsville, the kind of smaller tracks there, the half mile tracks. Um,
yeah,
just because yeah, they're not getting up to 200 plus miles an hour, but it's incredibly small, it's really tight corners and all that stuff. You've got to be like, you got to know what you're doing in order to get around there, and a lot of wrecks, a lot of rubbing racing and all that stuff, and gets pretty aggressive, so it's a lot of fun to watch.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Bristol is definitely a fun one to see. But I believe that as far as what I've heard is that NASCAR is making it so you're not even allowed to hit 200 miles an hour anymore um,
Really.
due to due to safety precautions. But I've also heard that they're upping the horsepowers within the vehicles, or they want to seven. I think it's like 750 horsepower, and eventually they want to get to 1,000. But I don't see how that's ever going to happen without hitting speeds of over 200 miles an hour on a track.
So yeah, they're gonna get them up to a 0 to 60 in under a millisecond, but they won't let them get up to 200 miles an hour. Ooh, heaven forbid.
I, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is just something I heard, so it very much well could be incorrect, but still out there and very much could be possibly true. But it also could be wrong as well.
So How long would you say on average you spend playing Farm Sim?
Oof. Like on a daily basis or like a weekly basis?
Let's go with the day. Like, let's say you get to the opportunity to sit down and start cranking out some content. Roughly about how long in a day would you be able to dedicate to recording?
Well, I would say, uh, videos roughly a day. I'd probably say a good 4 to 6 hours. Yeah, about
Okay,
4 to 6
okay,
hours a day. And that's just like your prep time, your recording time, and then uploading it to where it needs to be uploaded for the editors, and then you record for the second one if you're doing the second one.
I gotcha. And within that, well, one thing that I hear is a common theme. I know I'm susceptible to this. I'm sure a great many other content creators are as well, but because of the drive of creating new content and getting episodes out and all that kind of stuff, there's not a lot of time to be able to kind of sit back and enjoy the game itself. Do you find yourself having that same kind of issue, or do you carve out some time every once in a while to be able to just kind of unwind and play Farm Sim?
So, I mean, I don't, I mean, before I definitely did play it just to, play it. But now I just kind of see the game as like, it's just another day at work kind of situation. And the days that like I'm not recording on Farming Sim, that I'm playing Farming Sim, is testing out new mods, um, trying to help somebody with something, or vice versa. They're trying to help me with something. Um, New map previews. Um, it's about really all that I actually sit down and play Farming Sim without recording it on a content creation aspect, is just those testing kind of things.
Okay. And then on your channel, do you only deal in like the role play aspects, or do you create like map tours or anything else besides the role plays?
No, we stick to just the role play aspect as of now. I mean, there could be a change in events you may in the future possibly, but as it seeks of right now, we are the content where we just do roleplay aspects videos. It just suits better for us all together as a team and myself. It just makes it easier for everybody and the editors as well.
Gotcha. And what would you say is your most favorite map on any iterations of Farm Sim that you've played up until this point?
Brownwoods, Georgia, 100%.
Okay, okay. I take it that's one that's just on PC.
I believe it is. Yeah, I think it is only PC. It's a um, private map creator, I believe. Fearsome Rhino got a hold of it, and that's where we do our Southern Farm um, videos. And our peanut farming, all that is all done on that map. It's a beautiful map, 100% my favorite map to be out there yet. I haven't found anything that I enjoy more than that one. There's a few others that I do like, but that by far stands out the most.
And when you go to choose a map, let's say you're starting a new series or whatever the case may be, and you're getting onto a new place, what is it that you look for specifically? It's like, you know what, this is going to be where we set up shop.
So I try to find somewhere that's like, depends like what kind of series. If I'm doing like a no man's land, kind of like somewhere, like huddled around the trees, maybe near a little bit of water, um, kind of like pushed out in the back of, kind of middle of nowhere for those kind of series. But if I'm doing like let's say, or you like an inheritance series where you like, you know, you get all this equipment and you try to get your family's farm back up to life where originally was where originally once was. I try to find somewhere that's like local, but also got some distance from your sell points, from each direction, so you're not so cluttered to the town, but you also have that nice outside pasture feeling, and you got plenty of fields to go and plant different things. Um, it really, I guess, it really depends on what kind of series you're trying to start. Um, but that's what I kind of look for when starting a new series.
Okay. And I know that your experience here on Farm Sim is rather limited, but do you have a map that you would say would be your least favorite? And when I say least favorite, doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad map. Is just one that just didn't speak to you, but you got on it for whether it was to test it out, whatever the case may be. And it's like, nah, I'm going to pass on this one. You know, do you have something you would consider to be a least favorite?
So my least favorite map, unfortunately I don't know the name of it to save my life, but it was the first mega cut that I did on the channel when I got the opportunity to come on this channel. Um, it was a small, like biggish, smallish 4x4 no man's land map with very limited tree option, had one pond in the middle with zero selling points. So I had to basically reconstruct the map to make it work with the series, compared to where we had to, put in a gas station, we had to put in a couple selling points for different type of products. We also put, like our dealership down on the opposite side of the map so we could go and, buy and upgrade equipment and or trade or sell other stuff we didn't need. So that was probably my least favorite map out of the maps that I have uh, used.
Okay. And then again, given your limited time here on Farm Sim, I'll understand if this one is a little too difficult to answer, but if you could pick a map throughout FS history, your history that you've been around, which is very limited to 22, what map would you bring to FS 25? If you had the power to just snap your fingers and boom, it's there now, do you have a map that you would bring?
Um, yeah, you lost me on that one. I don't really know many maps. I'm very limited sourced on the map there. Um, I only know a handful of maps, and that's all from 25 here.
I gotcha, and that's fair enough. I mean, like you mentioned, being so late to the game there on 22, most of your knowledge is here on 25. I didn't expect to, have a firm answer on that one, but it's one of those, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So figured I'd
Yeah,
ask the question just to see. But let's see. Are there any maps that are coming out for FS25 that you're aware of that you're really excited to see?
um, honestly, I haven't heard of any new release mapping coming out yet, at least. I know there's a few creators that Fearsome Rhino watches that I like to watch as well, that are really good map creators, and also between your farming simulator mod websites that also give off pretty decent maps out there as well. But there isn't anything that I'm expecting or nor excited to see released yet that I haven't seen previews of. So, well, I'm sure there'll be something down the road, but as of right now, there's nothing that I'm like stoked to see come out right now.
Okay. So before FS25 released to the general population, Giants was going around and showing us all the features as a kind of slow drip. You know, hey, here's a little information. You know, we got ground deformation. Oh, here's a little bit more information. We got God rays. Here's a little bit more information. We got waves in the water. Things like that. All the kind of little special features and stuff that they kind of sprinkled out over the time. What was that one feature when FS25 was coming around the corner that you were the most excited to see?
GPS, 100%.
Right there with you. That was probably one of my most favorite features that they announced that they were adding to the game was GPS. 100% agree with you.
Because yeah, I mean, it depended on how you make your field, but like GPS 99% of the time works phenomenal. And uh, without it, my fields would be butchered.
I'm right there with you. It's one of those. It was an absolute game changer going from 22 to 25, and the AI that was available on 22 now it's 25. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's still some flaws. There's still some issues, but it's one of those where I would much rather have the system we have now with a few flaws and issues than the system we had and it be perfect.
Yeah. No, I mean, the AI was all right, but it just like wasn't 100% there. There was 9 out of 10 times if there was like so much little as a tree branch or a stick in the middle of their way, they would stop all what they're doing, and you would have to come clear the path and restart them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. And then you had the dreaded like stone picker, back in FS22 where they would, start out the map and you'd be able to kind of start them off and whatnot. But if you stopped at any point, then they would have the potential of not restarting where you left off, kind of thing. They didn't recognize the area that you did. Now they still don't. They still don't, but it's a little bit better than it was.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then I don't know about you, but I'm not really a big fan of this fog they got up in here.
So that was literally going to be my next question is what was the one feature that you were excited over but got over very quickly? Would you say it's the fog or would you say there was a different feature that you were excited over but then just kind of like meh, it didn't turn out the way I thought it would be?
No, I would definitely be the fog because like I thought, fog, maybe it could look cool with maybe how they're doing like the sky effects, the sunrise and the sunset and all this other stuff. But it got really annoying really quickly, and that developer mode helps out quite a bit with that because that gets annoying pretty quickly, especially when you're trying to record certain series and it's just like not a foggy kind of series. It gets really annoying.
Well, and that's the benefit of being on like a PC as opposed to like myself, I'm on console. So it's one of those where you get all those additional kind of features that like not everybody else can have and be able to tweak things as you go along and be able to, take out the fog or be able to do there's so much that that a PC player can do that console players can't. What would you say is that one mod that you just couldn't live without in regards to your content creation?
Oh, I forgot what like the actual mod it was, but it's actually a vehicle mod. And I actually like the Dodge Ram 3500 truck mod. The sound of it is pretty great. Um, that's one of the mods that I've had in within every series that I've had so far, whether I've used the mod or not, like fully. Definitely been within every mod pack that I have gotten and or made. It's one of my favorite vehicles in there. Um, I don't really have like a factory or a truck mod or a tractor mod or anything like that that I really like or know about quite yet. I haven't really navigated the game that much to grasp a feeling for something like that yet.
So here I thought I was kind of given a easy layup kind of thing in regards to that last question there, and then you come around and it's like, nope, I'm going to go a complete full left turn and not even not even go with what I was
Yeah.
thinking that you're going to go with. Because I presume that with most creators and whatnot, pretty much the universal answer I get is like I think it's called easy dev or
Yeah, I
um
mean, that's cool. I'm a, I'm not gonna lie, the easy dev is a little much for me. I like the little F12 menu and just fill, empty, empty kind of thing.
okay.
The new easy dev is quite enhanced and quite a lot, especially with the new update.
Oh, really? They added a whole bunch of stuff to it, or
Um, well, as far as I know, you can go as far as deleting every log and tree in the map with a click of a button to putting pallets wherever you want them, with fill trucks with anything and everything, putting pallets and or certain type of bales, whether they're wrapped with bale wrapping or netting. It doesn't matter. You could basically put anything in the game you want to with this thing.
wow.
It's enhanced. It's yeah.
That's definitely powerful. Like I said, being a console player, I'm completely oblivious to a lot of the PC mods. Just just don't need to know them, kind of thing. But I do pick up on things every once in a while. I knew it was a very powerful tool, especially because, like I said, I talked to so many different creators on this show. That's pretty much the universal, like, oh hey, easy dev, easy dev. That's why it really kind of caught me off guard. It's like, whoa, I was not expecting it not to be easy to have.
Yeah, I mean, the easy dev's nice and all, but I'm not really a person to mess around with the easy dev. I like the vehicle aspects of the game. I truly enjoy the vehicle sounds and their actual sculpting of the vehicle, like the way stuff looks, the modifications you can do. I'm not really into the let me get down in detail and play with every configuration of the game it's got.
Hey, you know what? That's absolutely fair. It's one of those that, a lot of modders out there that will, put in so much blood, sweat, and tears into the mod and just come up with all those little nitty gritty details that, for the most part, the average player might not even notice or pay attention to. But there's those people out there, it sounds like you're one of them, who will, hear an engine roar and be like, you know what, that's really similar to what it would be in real life or whatever the case may be. And you pick up on those small details and you're like, I like this one. Does that seem like a fair statement?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a me thing. I definitely like to sort through the vehicles. And I go through their modifications and what they sound like and what they look like. Some of the huge issues I've noticed with vehicles is their poly counts and how bad it is, like when you have multiple people within one server and the lagginess of like set each and individual mod can and cannot be bad. So
I gotcha. I gotcha. So, what's one thing that's not in FS that you really wish was?
um it's a good question. Uh hmm.
And just to, again, to buy you a little bit of time here, a common one that I find people say, and I 100% agree. This would be before your time. This is back in FS19 days, and it was the Seasons mod from FS19. And the reason that that one is so popular with me, and I believe everybody, not everybody else, but a lot of other people, is because that Seasons mod added a lot of different features that was not a part of the base game. So one of the things that it added was a drying feature. So you're familiar with in the base game where you cut your grass, you then can ted it to make hay, and then you can either pick it up with the uh, forage wagon or you can bale it, whatever the case may be. But you got your hay. It's one and done with the tedder, and you're good to go, kind of thing. Well,
Yeah.
with the seasons mod, one of the things that it added was one. the ability to make hay was not just a, hey, go over with a tedder and then you're done kind of thing. What it was is that you cut the grass, and that's kind of stage one. Stage two is going over it with the tedder, and that's more like stage 2A kind of thing. And then after that, the grass had to sit out in the sun for, I think it was like basically a in-game day kind of thing, and it would then eventually convert into hay. And some of the downsides and side effects were is that if you left your product on the fields for too long, it would start to decompose, and it would actually, you would lose product. So if you started out with 1,000 liters of hay, if you left it out there too long, it would turn into 950 liters, or so on and so forth, depending on how long you left it out there. So it was all those like little details and stuff. It also made it to where like your animals, if you didn't feed them and midnight rolled around, all of a sudden your pens would empty out. Basically, they would, they would blit and kind of be gone, kind of thing. Trying to keep.
That's that would be cool to see. I didn't even know that was a mod, but that would be pretty neat to see come to 25.
And what was really cool about it was available for all platforms. So there's like a ton of different features that was available for that specific one. And then in 22, that's when Giants picked up doing seasons based game kind of thing. So we kind of lost out on all those nice little features that were a part of the seasons mod. It also gave you things like geos and stuff like that that you could basically, let's say you were playing on a Brazilian map. Well, you would then in tangent with the seasons mod, you would be able to download the, let's say, Brazilian geo, and it would change the season, like the temperature, the weather patterns, things like that, in order to give you a feel for a more Brazilian style of weather systems. Um,
That
so
would
yeah.
be really interesting to see to come to 25. That especially with the Northern American maps, that'd be cool. Or the
Oh,
American map all adapt.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that it'd be cool to see to come to the like more of the American maps, see how that would be played because I never played 19-0s, as you said, way before my time.
Yeah, and what was really cool is that they even have geos that were specific to a state kind of thing. So like Michigan had a geo, New York had a geo. There was even like regions within states at times. So like there was upstate New York, there was Western New York, things like that, or like I think there was one for Oregon, there was one for Washington State, so on and so forth. So you had like all these different kind of unique patterns and stuff. So if you had a map that was a very specific region of the country or something like that, like in FS19 there was a map called Pacific Northwest, which is supposed to be like the Washington State, Oregon kind of general area. You could use one of their specific geos to get the weather system that was specific to that region kind of thing. So you would have like uh snowfall during certain months, and then rain throughout a greater time span, or whatever the case may be. It was a very powerful mod. I did a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Now that'd be very nice to see come to 25, especially with all those little details and you know different aspects of each map and weather and all the different aspects you got in that. That would be really cool to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then what's kind of map do you prefer to play on? Do you prefer kind of the wide open American style maps, or do you prefer like a tight confined, maybe like a UK style map?
I like um I like the wider open ones. I don't really like the clustered so close together kind of maps. Um I have more fun with the opener ones.
I gotcha. And then, what style of farming do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to work on like arables, forestry, grass care? I with your style of role playing, how you're kind of introducing like mining and things like that. Um, this question might not really pertain to you too well, but you know, try and answer it, I guess, as best as you can.
Well, between the videos that I got on the channel and like what I've done, um, the crops that I really like go to would be corn, wheat. Um, I think we did soybeans, potatoes on a very rare occasion because of the process you got to go to harvest them is just absurd. Um, Grass care, um, and planting, mowing and all that. Those are really the ones that we kind of like stick with. We don't really go. I mean, peanuts too, but that's within like a specific series along with cotton. But other than that, it's like corn, wheat, oats, your grass, get your hay out of it, your silage. That's about all I really go to. I mean, I think I might open up to like soybeans in the near future, but
Okay. And with your style of gameplay, or not even gameplay, but your style of role play and stuff like that. Um, One thing that I commonly do, and I know that a lot of other creators do this as well, is that for the camera, we'll kind of set things up to where like it looks one way, but in order to be able to get to that part, it takes a lot of prep work. It takes a lot of things kind of going on in the background. Do you take any kind of liberties behind the scenes that will allow you to be able to kind of fast track? Some examples I give from my personal perspective is, I'll go out, and if I am doing contracts or something like that, I may rent out like the Colossus Harvester to be able to get through a wider range, but while still being able to show that the work is being done, kind of thing. But getting them done much faster than it would take, 20, 30, 40 hours later, just getting that same amount of stuff done. Do you take any liberties along those lines, or do you tend to just kind of go with the flow, or that you set up your role plays in such a way that you really don't have to do things like that?
so there's some occasions where we get lucky enough where we don't have to, but there's just some of them. There's just absolutely no way to avoid it, and then you can't be sitting there for like 7 to 10 hours just on one video. So you gotta like speed it up just a little bit, but also make it look like been doing it the whole time. So we try to manipulate it and make it look as good as possible. But usually we're pretty good with not having to, and we get away with not having to, do anything like that. So we try to keep it to a minimum as possible.
I gotcha. And do you do a lot of the contract work within the game structure itself?
I do not personally. Um, I just didn't really see any point in it, considering of us trying to get the role play aspect of it, interacting with other people within the server itself, contracts just kind of just never came to my mind with being a part of that kind of video.
Okay. And then, as a content creator, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start in this field?
Um, Honestly, I mean, best advice that I would say is patience and always review your work. And if you wouldn't watch it thoroughly all the way through 100%, do it again. Try it again. Make sure it's something that someone that is not interested in that kind of gameplay or aspect of video that you're playing would sit down and watch it with you and, actually enjoy watching that video. And that's something that I've learned is if you can't enjoy the video yourself, other people are not going to enjoy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And then what would you say is the most memorable moment in your content creation career so far?
Um, hmm, Memorable moment, I would say, honestly, probably the quickness paced of becoming monetized. I didn't really think it was possible at first at all, and then it kind of picked up fairly quickly, and the community has been pretty awesome ever since then. Even before then, the community was great, and they've continued to be great. So definitely something that I will remember for quite a long time.
Okay. And do you have a favorite modder? Is there somebody out there? It's like, okay, I'm scrolling through the mod hub, and then all of a sudden, modder X, Y, and Z pops up, and it's like, oh man, I'm gonna check that one out because every time I have in the past, they've created some awesome stuff. Let me go out and check this thing out too. Is there somebody out there that you kind of keep an eye out for?
I don't really specifically keep an eye out, but I will say the individual who made the Brownwoods, Georgia map, which I believe it was Delta Southwest Mods. I could be saying it wrong, it's a very good chance, but um, he's very much impressed me with his maps, and probably will be looking forward to when he comes out with another map, and definitely will be pretty excited to see another one come out because this one has been phenomenal and one of my favorite maps to come out in 25 so far.
I gotcha. And then, was there any creator out there that kind of inspired you to get into the creation space, or was it just kind of something that you decided to do?
Um, I wouldn't really necessarily say that there was a specific creator that designated me to become a creator. It's definitely something that I wanted to, become a part of for a while, just never had the right guidance to do so. But I will say that none of it would be truly possible if it wasn't for Fearsome Rhino. So if there was a shout out to a creator that did help me with any of that, it would definitely be him.
Okay. And then the last question I have for this segment is if you had the ability to make a map based off of real life. So let's say you had all the prerequisite skills to be able to, create a map, mod it out the way that you wanted to, make it like 100% in your mind, perfect in every way, shape, and form. What location would that map be based off of, and why?
Oh, I would like to see hmm, a very northern map, like like a Maine or Vermont. Vermont's really heavy on farming. It'd be pretty cool to see. Maybe
Okay.
one day those will come out.
Now, is there a specific area of Vermont that you would want above all else, or just kind of a general Vermont kind of feel to it?
Just probably a general Vermont kind of feel. There isn't really a specific location I would like. There's a lot of places, northern Vermont, like South Royalton, Rutland, and all of them that got really heavy on farming and agricultural farming. Um, but I think that would be really cool to see.
Okay, because I know like a very common thing that you'll see is, especially like you can look at like Elm Creek as an example there from FS 22 days. You can also look at Riverbend Springs as a kind of another example, but like giants, they'll take like specific areas or regions within, either certain states or certain areas within a state and whatnot, and they'll kind of add it and kind of create this kind of amalgam of a map. And if you go around, a good example is Riverbend Springs. If you go around, it was originally kind of reported, quote unquote, that it was based around Arkansas, I believe. And if you kind of wander around and look at some of the finer details, there's signage that is in the map, and it was out by, I believe, the post office, if I'm not mistaken, where it's kind of based off of Oklahoma. And there's other areas that are based on certain other segments around the country. There's all these different influences. Would you say that that would be kind of the, overall style that you would look for in regards to that Vermont map?
Um, I don't, not off the top of my head. Um, I just think the idea of having somewhere where I'm local to would be pretty cool to see come to the game. Um, yeah, I don't really. I think just that idea would be something pretty cool. I don't really have anything else on top of that.
Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that. All right. And like I said, that's pretty much the end of this segment here. Now I'm going to again go ahead and reach out to the community and see if we have any questions out there. Let's see. I don't have any messages from Dust Bunny, so I'm going to presume that nothing's out there, but I'm going to take a quick double check here just to be certain. Let's see. Do. No, nothing there. All right, I'm not seeing anything. If anybody has any questions and wants to really quickly get them in before the end of the stream, go ahead and make sure you hit up that double question mark just so we make sure that we get to all the questions that may be out there. But it looks like, as far as I'm aware, that looks like it's about it. Justin Anderson, thank you so much for your question. Just saw that in there. Says, is asking for your age.
I'm 20 going on 21 in July.
Okay, okay. So, Justin, again, thank you so much for your question. Greatly appreciate it. And from there, like I said, we're going to start
Really?
wrapping things up. What's that?
Sorry, I was reading a text message. My bad.
No, no worries, no worries. So, we're into our third and final segment here called That's a Silage Wrap. This is where we're going to start closing things out and bringing things to a close. Again, if you have any questions, try and get them in before we start to wrap things up here. So, let's see. Starting out with, do you have any future plans or projects?
In regards of like the channel or just in general?
Correct.
Um, I do have a few um plans coming for the channel. Um, Still gotta get the rest of the ideas together and make sure everything is gonna come together the way that I want it to. But I do have some ideas coming to the channel that I would like to see come together. But that will come with some time, and it's just some video ideas that we got planned. Other than that, I really don't have any huge plans coming. Maybe some alternate games to correspond with Farming Simulator as well, but we'll see how that goes.
I gotcha. Real quick, we got Noah Farms Gaming asking how long did you start your channel? If I remember correctly, you started late 22 and then basically rolling mainly into 25. Is that accurate?
So the channel when I got it started off in 22. I got the channel and had the pleasure of starting out in 25. Um, so I've only had this channel for about I want to say 7 to 8 months. And we started off in 25.
Okay. Noah Farms Gaming, thank you again so much for your question. Whiskey Creek asks, are you on PC or console? He's on PC. Again,
Yep.
Whiskey, thank you so much for your question. Greatly appreciate it. Justin asks, when is your next video going to be out?
So we have a mega cut in the process of being edited. It will take a little bit of time because there's over 24 hours of footage on that one mega that has to be gone through and individually looked at and put together as a whole at the end. But it is being worked on and it will be coming out, and that's our next video. Just give the editors some time, and that video will be coming out as soon as possible.
Excellent. Excellent. And do you want to let us know again where we can find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube under FearKnight. Just look up FearKnight, or you can go to Fearsome Rhino 2. I'll be under the Farm Squad with all the other of them that are listed. And I believe I'm also on the Extra Rhino 2. I'm not sure, but I am on at least those first two mains.
And both of those are both linked in the description below. So if you want to go ahead and check out FearKnight, go check out those links. It'll send you right to the places that he's listing out here right now. We got one more question here, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it after that. It is from Noah Farms Gaming. Again, thank you all so very much for all your questions. Noah, thank you for yours. Says, what is your favorite game tractor and truck? So you mentioned the truck earlier being the Dodge 3500, I believe, correct?
Yeah, the Dodge 3500 was definitely one of my favorites. Um, for like a vehicle truck mod. But as far as a tractor, I want to say, oh, trying to think of the name of it. Um, yeah, I can't really think of the name of the tractor here. I haven't really messed with many tractors, but I'd probably say, oh boy, guys are stumping me here with this one. I don't know. I do like the Challengers. The dual Challengers are a really good tractor mod that I do enjoy.
Excellent, excellent. And we did get one more question from Justin Anderson. Justin, thank you so very much. Says, what is your long-term plans with YouTube and Farming Simulator? Like, do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 10 years with making your videos?
Um, well, hopefully within 10 years, I will have a pretty decent sized community base. And hopefully will be well better within the giant software network and maybe partnership with them or something. um, I hope to see at least partnership with giant software and establish a bigger community base with YouTube and the farming community.
Those are definitely some good goals to be shooting for. But yeah, like I said, that is going to be the end of this one. So, again, I want to thank everybody out there who participated in the questions, who also just sat back and watched the interview. And most of all, Fear Night, I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight, hanging out with us, and answering all of our questions. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Definitely fun to come out here and just answer some questions and enjoy the chat and enjoy the night. So appreciate you inviting me out here.
Oh, absolutely. It was my pleasure. I had an absolute blast with you here tonight, as I tend to do with all of my guests. Getting to hear all these stories and kind of understanding where people are coming from and, where they're kind of seeing themselves go or what it is that they do within this space is absolutely fantastic. And again, listening to you, listening to your stories here tonight, I greatly appreciate it. It was, like I said, absolute blast.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed it, and it was definitely a fun experience to come in here tonight.
Now, this is the time where I turn to the audience and ask if you have a favorite content creator, map maker, modder, whatever the case may be, and you enjoyed this content. I unfortunately I cannot know everybody who's out there. It's one of those where there's so many content creators, so many modders, so many map makers, etc. But if you got a favorite out there and you want me to try and get them on the show, reach out to me via my social medias, whether Discord, X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case may be. Let me know who it is that you'd like to see on this show. I would love to be able to try and reach out to them and let them, give them an opportunity to come out here. Big or small, it doesn't matter. The only prerequisite that I have for anybody coming on the show is they have to be above the age of 18. So that is it. If they are connected to Farming Simulator in any way, shape, or form, even if there's a farmer, like a legit farmer out there who maybe does like YouTube videos, things like that, vlogging, whatever the case may be, would love to have them on as well. Without the farmers, there would be no Farm Sim. So they are absolutely welcome as well. So all that being said, if there's somebody out there, reach out to me. I'll do my absolute best to get them on the show. And I hope that everybody here enjoyed this here tonight, because I know I sure did. And if you did, please show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things. The algorithms enjoy you doing the shows, you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care. FearKnight, if you hold on for just a second until after the outro, I'll catch you on the other side.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
Take care, everyone.